I'm Sam.
I'm Hillary.
I'm McKenna.
I'm Ashlyn.
And we're the Good News Pod.
Welcome back to the Good News Pod, where we take a closer look at the people and activities of Goodwill Southeast Georgia. And we're finally here. We've been talking about it all year long, but it is our 60th anniversary month.
6-0. Woo!
That's right. Yeah, and you know what? It has been a whirlwind of a month so far. We've been able to take a look at a lot of stories. We've just opened our new Savannah Crossings location. Lots to be excited about. Anything that stands out for you guys right now?
I think it was really exciting to see the store opening. It was our first store opening in 16 years, if I'm remembering. 12 years. First store opening in 12 years. And the turnout was amazing. So being able to be out in the community and see everyone be excited for this store that we essentially opened was really exciting.
I agree. That energy, it was unmatched at the ribbon cutting for Savannah Crossings. But also these stories have been every range of background and individual and asset. And I think it's been really great to see these amazing journeys that have a little bit of goodwill along the way. And I think that's been really great to celebrate.
I agree with Sam and Hillary. Just seeing that line wrapped around the building at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday was crazy. So just seeing all that support and knowing that every purchase that they make that day and every donation goes back to helping change lives and individuals. So I was really excited to see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And if you kind of want to catch up on all that's been going on, of course, you can follow us here on the podcast. But if you want to look into some of those stories of impact, you can check out our YouTube page, any of our social media pages, our blog. They've all had these incredible stories that we've been able to celebrate. People throughout our organization, but also people from the community who have walked through the doors of our Opportunity Center and have came out being able to say they've accomplished a goal, whatever that looks like for them, whether it's something in their personal life, something related to their career, something that helps them support their family. We've been really excited to celebrate all those achievements this month.
It is. We have the best clients through our Opportunity Center, and we have the best shoppers and donors. It's been a really great month celebrating and engaging with them on all levels. So here, 60th year, we're here. We're ready to continue those connections.
That's right, and it'll continue all year long. And something else that we've been able to look at a little bit more closely this month. So it's also Earth Month.
It is.
And we know that sustainability is also a key component of what we do here at Goodwill Southeast Georgia, giving items a second life, being responsible with those donations that are generously given to us from the community. We want to use those to make an impact, to give back. So really that comes down to accountability for us too, which is one of our core values, and the commitment to that, both that sustainability and our great customer and donor experience, kind of was the starting point for a really cool partnership that we have been growing recently with Savannah College of Art and Design.
It has been so much fun to work with SCAD, not just from a campus move out, but really to look at the work that they do in their classrooms. They have such innovative, creative students from all across the world doing amazing design work and really rethinking how we approach so many different things in our lives. So the chance to work with them and have them kind of come into our organization, learn about who we are and what we do, and then really give us some design heavy, forward thinking deliverables was really exciting to see.
Absolutely, and I think it's cool. We partner with SCAD for, campus move out. So being able to also have this other added partnership with them and actually meet students who are the future designers who are going to help us continue building our community with what they gave us at the end of their semester. And if I remember correctly, I think we have an interview with them coming up, don't we, Hillary?
We do. Yes, ma'am. I had the opportunity to sit down with our professor, the student project chair, and Maggie from SCAD Serve, who kind of created this Design for Good course. And we talked a lot about the project, what the students learned, what SCAD does kind of on a whole with serving and giving back to the community that we all share. Ryan, Maggie, and Kris, welcome to the Good News Pod. We are so excited to welcome you after a fantastic quarter working together on our Design for Good class, sponsored by SCAD Serve. Welcome to the pod. Before we get started, we would love if each of you will just introduce yourselves, share your name, title, and maybe one thing that you learned about Goodwill throughout this project.
Okay, I'm Kris Romero. I'm an architecture senior at SCAD, and through this process, I didn't know that Goodwill actually offers a lot for the community. Like, I know that you guys do good and Goodwill, but I didn't know that you guys offer like education and like free classes just for people in the community. That was super cool to learn here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm Maggie Sorel, Assistant Director of SCAD Serve. I've been with the university for over a decade. I'm a licensed therapist. That was my former role before joining SCAD Serve. Huge fan of Goodwill. I am a retail shopper on that side of the operations. But yeah, I echo your what you learned. I didn't realize how many resources you provided the community and just how collaborative you are with not only SCAD Serve, but a myriad of nonprofits here in Savannah. Y'all are doing a lot, and Southeast Georgia. Y'all are doing such great work supporting other organizations to really make it a bigger impact.
I'm Ryan Madson, Professor of Architecture at SCAD, former professor of Kris's in the architecture studio as well as a lot of the other students who are in our project. One thing that I learned about Goodwill, apart from being really struck by the human resources and the training that's available to your associates, I was really impressed by all of the activities behind the scenes that go into managing those different streams of donations and thinking about ways to innovate and recycle, not just getting things out to the storefront and the retail area, but other ways that you're doing things with some of your donations, which I thought was really cool.
Thank you. It's been so much fun to not just tell the story, but also to learn even more. I'm a 2-time SCAD alum, and I'm so impressed continually with all that's coming out of the university and the amazing work that rising designers are doing. And today we did bring in some of the amazing materials from that class, and we just want to say we were impressed from start to finish with the level of care and intention that you all took in really addressing what we were doing at Goodwill and thinking about really amplifying and improving that donor experience. So that's what we want to talk about today. Is we want to talk a little bit about our collaboration, what SCAD's doing to continue to serve the communities that we share here together. So we were so grateful to be part of the Design for Good collaborative program. Maggie, can you tell us a little bit about SCAD Serve and kind of how it fits into SCAD's vision and values?
Sure. Yeah, SCAD Serve actually started out as a club, a student-led club years ago. And then it just grew over time and evolved into a full-blown department. So it's the university's community service design studio, what we call it now. So we have weekly volunteer events where we partner with local nonprofit and charities in need of just volunteers. But what's really exciting is how the Design for Good initiative has grown over the years. We offered more courses this quarter than we have in any other quarter. So that just goes to show you, the need, right, that community partners have. And we're going to continue to grow, And the values of SCAD, we want to train our students to be professionals. And this is the perfect way to do that, right? Students have the opportunity to work with real clients that have needs that they cannot solve effectively themselves. So we bring in the creative genius of our students, our professors, to ideate on these designs that they may have in mind, right? And just, that's the exciting thing about these courses is that the organization might think they want one thing, but then after they've spoken with the students have time to really come up with their own ideas, it can turn into something so much more.
We saw that live, the overnight donation solution that you all came up with that was just created out of your incredible creativity and innovation blows us away. We have been talking about it every time I walk in where it's stored next to Parker's desk. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. How have we not thought of that? I think it's just a powerful opportunity for the creativity that's coming out of your classrooms and, the partners. We're grateful to be a partner who that's not something that we would have come up with on our own, but it's something that we can share across the Goodwill network and across, the entire country with other Goodwills doing the same thing who have very similar problems. It was It's my favorite. Okay. So that kind of leads me to my next question. One of the things that we really value here at Goodwill in our opportunity centers is the ability to have hands-on learning and practical application of skills as we're preparing people to go into the workforce. Can you tell us, anyone, a little bit about how this kind of hands-on learning experience has really helped you become ready for a professional setting, or as a professor, kind of how you want that hands-on learning to apply to your students as they're preparing to enter the real world?
Like Kris alluded to earlier, a lot of our studios within the different majors and disciplines at SCAD have a hypothetical project. Yet the emphasis within all majors and disciplines is on applied arts and design, and how students can become professionals, how they can have creative careers in their chosen field. But there's not always an opportunity to work with a real world client on a real world brief to create deliverables that are really going to have an impact in the sense that they can be realized or implemented, in a practical way. So I think that partnerships like the one we have with Goodwill, where we're designing these attended donation centers, help the students see that there's a real application and a way to make a difference with those skill sets that hitherto have been pretty hypothetical. Not always, but often they're very hypothetical in our studios.
Yeah, and even in the studio, like working, you're kind of doing what I think is best for the client, or maybe what the professor is adding in, what, maybe the client would think this way, and having conversations within the studio. But working with a real client, you're like, what do you actually need? What do you think about this? How do you feel about this? Is this going to work for you and what you need?
That's true. The feedback and the opportunities that we had to kind of participate throughout the entire process, I know, were really beneficial to us, to not only help us make sure that we were articulating what the need or the challenge really was in a clear manner, but being able to say, oh yeah, you really got it. That's something we didn't even think about, or that's a much better way of addressing a problem, coming from very different standpoints. And I think that ability to kind of work together through the whole 10 weeks was really lovely for us to truly understand how you bring a concept to life from beginning to end. And I'm hoping that was helpful to provide feedback along the way as well.
Yeah, that's such an important part of the process with working with real partners, is that there's a feedback loop, and there's real listening that has to happen, with the students and with myself, with SCAD Serve, to listen to what your needs are and ask the right questions and show you examples or options and sort of create that opportunity for feedback.
And working within a real world budget too. When you're working on a hypothetical project, the sky's the limit budget wise. And so that, that can be tricky, right?
Yeah.
I think that's an important skill that the students are learning.
It's playing tennis with the net, having these sort of ceilings and limitations to what you can do. It's got to be achievable or realizable in some way.
Exactly, because it can be the most beautiful, welcoming environment, but if we as an organization, who's really mission driven, and as a nonprofit social enterprise, everything has to go back into that, we still want it to be a great experience. But there is a bottom line at the end of the day, and I think that was really very thoughtful throughout the entire process too. So I love that we were able to put those kind of guardrails in the proposal, so that we weren't getting something that was amazing that wasn't going to be able to be implemented. Agreed. One of the things that we came to as part of the project with this Design for Good class was changing the experience our donors have for our attended donation centers. They're not usually set with the store. There's a disconnect between the Goodwill mission and what we do with those items. And we know that there's an opportunity for us to improve both the client experience, the associate experience, and do a better job of kind of translating Goodwill's mission to our clients who may not have any other interaction with Goodwill. So that was kind of the problem that we came to you with, looking at how we adapt our attended donation centers that are semi-mobile along with a standalone. And so sustainability is a big part of what we do. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you used that in your influence?
Yeah, for this project, for the brick and mortar location, that standalone ADC, we decided to do a rainwater harvesting and also the gray water system. So there's a butterfly roof, and the water will collect into where it connects. The water will go down and be used for
irrigation.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Talk about the natural light, the clear story windows.
Yes, so we weren't only designing for the donors, but also for the employees who are going to be there all day. and it is a warehouse, so it's usually pretty grim in most warehouses. I do work in a warehouse, so I know that feeling. But allowing a lot of light into the building really brightens the experience inside.
The realistic approach that you took to making that a better experience for our associates, who, for an attended donation center, they're typically alone, or it's 1 to 2 people. There's not that engagement with colleagues like there is at a traditional retail store. The immediate introduction of just light completely changes an environment, and we were really impressed with the way that you guys really thought about that experience from an associate perspective. It's very easy to just say donor, 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 but there are people who are working here serving the mission and building that experience, and we really loved that you considered them throughout the entire process. While going through the project and learning a little bit about Goodwill, we had a great tour with everyone coming through. We learned a lot about SCAD. What are some of the things that maybe you made as a discovery or surprised you about the process of donations moving through Goodwill during the class?
Some of the surprises for me, there was a tour that we took with the SCAD students, but also a tour with different community partners and not-for-profits in the area, and really learning about the sort of cycle of good, whether it's with your personnel and human resources, but also with the materials and the donations, and sort of thinking through, the huge quantities of things that you get and how they can either be, resold or repurposed, which many of them are, but a lot of them can't be.
Yep.
And so I've never really thought about what happens to all those donations. And there's so much thought and intention into how things can be upcycled, recycled, downcycled, doing your very best to keep things out of the landfill, thinking about ways to innovate within certain waste streams so that some of your donations like denim and other things, different kinds of textiles are going into new products, like for example your partnership with Gulfstream to create aeronautic insulation. I thought all that stuff was just so intentional and truly sustainable, like how there's a goal for all of the donations and products that you have.
I know it's fascinating to see how much comes in and all the different ways that it can go out. That was one of the things that got me
as a shopper,
when I first
I
came
never
through.
knew. I mean, I knew to an extent, but really, like, it was lifting the curtain, and it was like, wow. And it made me feel better as a donor that I'm contributing to a great mission versus the landfills.
Right. We know that the feedback that we were giving, the comments, the problems, you guys were seeing it from such a different lens, and that translated so beautifully to the final products.
Yeah, that's great. For me, I really value the contributions of students from different disciplines. So, of course, architecture is the core skill set in this project, but we also had students from industrial design and a design for sustainability major, and their contributions really helped us as architects and designers to incorporate more systems thinking, sustainability, and of course to come up with that really value-added project, which was the overnight lockers, which we just wouldn't have done without having those industrial design students and the talent of all these students working creatively together to think about, what can we do if folks are going to be dropping things off overnight, as they do, as we found out.
Whether you have a place for them to put it or not.
And this solution could be incorporated into the standalone and into the buildings, or they can be a standalone locker that can be on a different site or adjacent to the building. Lots of applications for it.
And that was so interesting to us, and it was really like an aha light bulb, like, that's brilliant. And that's to share. We are really excited because that will be part of the plans for our new Pooler store that we're working on in the future. So that will come early 2026, and that's part of our building design. So we're so excited to be able to get that
because we
live.
were just sitting in class, and our industrial team were like, listen, what if? Hear me out. And they pitched it to us, and we were like, whoa, yes. Please start drawing it out.
It's really cool. So I'm sure that was really interesting to bring all those different groups together, and I love the process that you use, kind of breaking it into the brick and mortar and the attended donation center sides. What was the collaboration like with the other students?
So in the beginning, we did a lot of research together
Mhm.
to kind of understand your mission and your operations and everything going on. And then we divided into those teams,
Mm-hmm.
but we still like gave each other feedback like, well, this is kind of how we decided to do in this building. Does this apply to you as well? Can we create this like kind of unison
Mm-hmm.
across them, but still have like the best function for what you guys needed?
As part of that research too, the different teams looked at precedents, existing either Goodwill facilities or similar
Yeah.
drop-off facilities or donation experiences, and looked at them as sort of inspiration, but
Mhm.
also reference images so that we could show you all,
Yeah.
and that feedback that we got, those different feedback loops and check-ins that we had, helped us kind of realize what was important and what we should sort of start to propose as part of our design options, and the things that were maybe less important.
Have you noticed so many more now driving around all these different donation boxes and things? Does it now stick out in your mind after you've spent so much
absolutely,
time
yeah.
looking at it?
Yes. Definitely.
We went to a Goodwill the other weekend, and I'm like, with my best friend, I'm like, this is called this, and they do it this way.
You learn with a Gaylord,
Thank you.
the term Gaylord. all
You're like, oh,
kinds
you got
of
some
terms.
uprights in the
The
back.
uprights,
Okay.
Yeah.
You know all the lingo now. I love that. It's a different experience shopping now that you've kind of been on the
Yeah.
other side
I
of
kind
it
of
too.
appreciate it a lot more. So
Yeah, I was just really
Awesome.
impressed how the students kind of became part of the culture by using the vocabulary and think about the practical applications
Yes.
of all of the elements, the spaces that you need, the storage, the service and delivery. All those things sort of became part of our studio vocabulary and studio culture, and how we were able to sort of incorporate your professional,
Yeah.
language and your needs into our project.
And we heard that. We felt very comfortable. We're like, they get it. The buy-in was immediate, and we felt that from the beginning. So it was such a pleasure, and I can't recommend this type of collaboration with my whole heart. It was so lovely to see, and I continue to be impressed just with the level of professionalism. So if this is just what you're doing in class, watch out, world. I know that you all will be incredibly successful outside of that. Well, before we go, is there anything that you want to point out on any of the items that we have, or anything else you want to share about this program, SCAD Serve, or?
Well, I just wanted to add, I think what makes the Design for Good course collaborations so, one of my favorite parts of the job is walking into the midpoint and the final presentations, and you see the clients, you've built this relationship over at least a quarter, maybe even sometimes more. I mean, we have things in the works for 6 months, sometimes to a year. And to see it all come to fruition, and the energy in the room, and you can just, it's electric, it's positive, it's exciting. That just makes it so worth it. And I love my job. Yeah,
I agree.
to help.
It's a great day.
And to see the students and how excited they are to share their designs.
and feeding off your guys' energy during our meetings, like it made us more excited
Oh,
to
good.
design for you guys. We're like, yes,
Yeah.
they need this. Let's do this for them.
We do.
Absolutely.
We were very
Yeah.
excited.
It's just it's a special process and experience for everyone involved.
I agree.
I would just say I hope this is the first of more future collaborations with Goodwill and SCAD Serve.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on the podcast and for a fantastic 10 weeks, and it will hopefully be a very long relationship. Thanks
Awesome.
for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Hillary.
Thank you. Wow, it was so great to catch up with Ryan and Kris and Maggie again after that conversation.
Yeah, what incredible work. And we've been able to display some of that wonderful work on here in the office, and we're still getting people walking by. They're like, hey, what's that? We're like,
Tell me
let
about it."
us tell you all about this.
And we will.
Yes, yeah. And as Hillary mentioned in the interview, we are working towards moving forward with some of those concepts for our upcoming locations. So stay tuned. We'll keep you guys in the loop about how that plays out.
Yes, and it was so great to see that we had such a lovely experience and felt really engaged the whole time. And it was really great that they also had the same experience with our team and learning more about Goodwill. So hopefully we have a class of 12 to 15 new Goodwill brand ambassadors around Savannah and wherever they end up as they're graduating and going on to do design work across the world.
There you go. So cool.
Yes. So I believe it's fun fact time.
It is.
That's right. And we have talked a little bit, Ashlyn, you mentioned earlier, it is Earth Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important to continue to remind people about who we are as a sustainability partner. And so my fact comes from Goodwill Industries International, which is our kind of parent organization that oversees the 156 different unique Goodwill organizations. Did you guys know that collectively, as a Goodwill network, we diverted 4.3 billion pounds from local landfills in 2023?
Whoa.
Wow.
4.3 billion.
That's crazy.
With a B.
I can't even.
With a
fathom.
B. Yes. And I think it's important to note that that is not just through our retail stores, but that is through all of those different vendors that we find different uses for.
I think it's really important too. I mean, we see so much product. I'm sure all of our 155, because we're 156, also see tons and tons of materials. So finding a sustainable way to actually keep those things out of the landfill, and it goes. I at least think it goes back to helping our community. You know, we keep a certain amount out of our local landfill, and so does these other 155 Goodwills. So collectively, to see such a big number is such a huge impact for what we're trying to do just in our little spots.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see, you know, that use of the circular economy in action. You know, one thing that I love about Goodwill is that it really fosters that creativity of, you know, seeing the potential of an item. You know, someone might see, you know, a purse maybe with some handles that are a bit worn, but, you know, in some of our recent partnerships, McKenna, you've had a chance to work with some of our local influencers about how you can give new life to those items.
So Love and Moxie is going to be partnering with Goodwill this month, and she's creating a video every single week about how you can take used clothing items that she's taken from Goodwill, and she refurbishes old purses and makes them into a unique way. So she adds different material to them, charms, like she makes them very unique, and then she goes out and sells them and gives them a completely new life. So she's trying to teach other people in the local area how they can do that as well.
Yeah,
I
so
love
awesome.
that. You know, you see a bag and you're like, oh, well, it's got a little bit of staining, but there's still so much life left in those bags. That's really cool. I can't wait to see all the things that she comes up with.
So excited.
Definitely. Yeah, her first creation was beautiful, and that's really what sparked when we were talking about that. I was like, oh yeah, her creation was awesome.
Oh yeah, that blue bag was stunning.
It was.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Hillary. For
Yes, and
sharing
thank
that
you all for helping us reach that number collectively and keeping things out of our local landfill here. We're really grateful to be a sustainable partner for our communities, our shared communities that we share.
Absolutely. And, you know, of course, we'll keep sharing more of these fun facts throughout the year as we continue to celebrate our 60th anniversary. Again, like we mentioned earlier, stay closely tuned to our social media for more of those stories of impact as well. We're so excited to keep going with that. So thank you guys so much for your support. Yeah. And that is the last word from the Good News Pod today. We hope that we brought a little more good to your day. Keep doing good with Goodwill.